What's the latest with Mike McCarthy and his whole situation with Dallas? I know just as the show started, there's reports that Mike McCarthy is no longer going to be back in Dallas. Can you tell us what the latest is?
Yeah, the two sides officially are parting ways. They met over the course of the last week and basically had discussions about football. No business discussions. They never got to that. There were no contract discussions. And the longer it went on, the more apparent it became that clearly with Mike McCarthy's contract set to expire, him eligible to talk to teams at midnight on Tuesday, there was no movement towards a new deal. Clearly, there was a direction in which Dallas wasn't going there. And so, short time ago, Cowboy official says the two sides are parting ways. Mike McCarthy is going to become a coaching free agent. The Bears and Saints are expected to have interest in him and to talk to him. The Cowboys are now going to be in the market for a new head coach. So obviously a seismic shift in the NFL landscape. That, by the way, Pat, would be the seventh team. What did we talk about all season long?
You feel real good about it. Obviously, you said these guys all have families and everything, so it's sad and devastating, but it's going to be 7. Quarterback spots are going to be up in 7, probably coaching positions that are going to be open. Okay, so Mike McCarthy is now headed into not the firings, but not getting another contract with the Dallas Cowboys. If we've kind of been hanging in limbo, the Patriots have already given out their head coaching job to Mike Vrabel, which I know Connor will want to ask you about here in a moment. Yeah. But does Mike McCarthy say to Jerry Jones, hey, go fuck yourself for making me wait through an entire hiring cycle already, seemingly, for coaches that have already had interviews and chit-chats and everything like that with Mike McCarthy, if he wants to coach again, would have been a part of, we assume, in some of those places? Or is this standard operating procedure and Mike McCarthy understands the business?
I think Mike McCarthy understands the business. He's going to get to Chicago a few days later than expected. It's not like the Bears have hired somebody. Ideally, you would have liked to have talked to them.
What if they had, though? Like, what if Patriots already hired their coach? Chicago already hired their coach. The Jets, we know they interviewed 150 people. Shout out to the 33rd team putting that list together. Hey, this person's been around football before, potentially could coach. You should interview. Let's do 70 interviews. What if they hire somebody already? Like, is this common, how this whole thing worked out? How there was an exclusive negotiating window for a week after his contract already ended? Like, is this normal? And maybe we just never see it because coaches never make it to the finality of their contracts?
It's a little unusual. You haven't seen too many situations like that. I don't know if it's ever occurred before. Certainly not in recent memory. It is unique. And this is kind of the way that it's worked out. I don't think it's going to hurt either side. And, the whole thing with Dallas all along was this, the way I was thinking it. Okay, clearly they're not moving forward with a deal for Mike McCarthy. So what are they doing? It wasn't ever going to get to the point, in my mind, where all of a sudden Tuesday was going to come, and all of a sudden Jerry Jones is going to say, okay, we're not doing a deal with Mike McCarthy. What am I doing? Like, again, my question.
Yeah, he missed Vrabes. He missed out on Vrabes, which could have been a possible perfect coach for them down there. He's already got this seems like more Jerry Jones stuff, which is like, I'm going to do it my way, okay? And I'm going to do this how I do it and how I want to do it. And it's like, well, Jerry, it might have worked back in the day. Now things are moving. Vrabes may be perfect Dallas Cowboys coach. No. I mean, I don't know if that's the way they want to go. But you're right, Con Man, and Connor's going to ask about that. But it's like, I thought it from big Mike McCarthy, Yinzer Mike McCarthy standpoint, like you basically held me in purgatory for a week here when other jobs have already been given out that they want a coach like me at that place, culture builder, tough guy from Pittsburgh, that whole thing. A job's already been taken. I didn't even think about it from the Cowboys' perspective. Like, you don't even get a chance to talk to Vrabes. Vrabes is already gone because you didn't even. Wild. Cowboys are so different, Shefty. Cowboys always operate such a different fashion.
Again, I think Mike Vrabel, having his history with the organization that he did, I think probably that appealed to him, being in New England, even more so than Dallas. And I think probably people in Dallas know that, although I think Dallas might have been an option for him if he were a coaching free agent still out there, but he's not. So he's a Patriot head coach, and there's one fewer option, one fewer coach for the Dallas Cowboys to think about. And so now we can start wondering about all the names who could be in line to be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Who?
Who's
Who are some we should think about?
List? Yeah, who's the top of their wish list?
You know what? I do not know that factually. I really don't, because clearly
Tomlin, huh? They're thinking about trading for Mike Tomlin.
Oh, wow.
Bill Belichick?
I don't see the Steelers trading Mike Tomlin. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Now, again, things can always change, but I don't see them being interested in trading Mike Tomlin, no matter who calls them and who checks in to see whether or not he's available.
Okay, that's just Jerry Jones doing hiring here, right? Not Steven or anybody.
Well, it's Jerry's organization, and obviously Steven assists him, and we'll see what they decide to do. But this is going to be a fascinating hire, because now also, by the way, you missed out on the window to talk to some of these coaches, like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. If you want to talk to them, you can't do that now.
I'm so confused by it all, but hey, that's Cowboys, isn't it? And the thing about the Cowboys is the way they're run is because they want to work with their family. You know, when they're laying down on their deathbed, they're not wishing to see a couple more sons come up. They're thinking, I did the right way with my family. You should be listening to this too over here, Slappy. All right, I'll see you guys later. Jerry Jones needs to get into acting full time and let his family maybe run his team. But that's my personal opinion.
This whole Mike McCarthy situation, though, Shefty, I want to get back to it real quickly. This Bears
Yeah.
Do you think he's the leading candidate for that Bears job?
I think Mike McCarthy is going to be a strong candidate in Chicago and New Orleans, both. And that has implications on other teams as well, because to me, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are getting jobs in this particular cycle. Both of them are going to be head coaches if that's what they ultimately decide to do in the end. And Aaron Glenn is in play in a number of places, but most notably New Orleans and the Jets. So if all of a sudden the Saints are in on Mike McCarthy, and if he gets that job, then Aaron Glenn and the Jets would become a logical match down the line. Ben Johnson's going to get a job here, whether that's in Jacksonville or Chicago or the Raiders, but he's going to get a job too. So we'll see how that one works out. Mike McCarthy now gets put into this mix, and he'll be in play in Chicago and New Orleans. So again, you're going through all this and waiting to see how it turns out, but that's how some of this is shaping up at this point. But again, back to the Cowboys. I said to you, Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, they're getting jobs. If the Dallas Cowboys wanted to talk to them right now, they cannot talk to them until their season is over. They can't.
You can't. You missed the window.
They missed the window.
AJ, I'm happy you didn't want to give Vrabel a thought at all there during that conversation. I'm happy we also went back. Happy you went back and clarified some things on the big Mike McCarthy, job search, because boy, if you wouldn't have said that, and then Schefter wouldn't have hammered home the Saints opportunity. Can you think about Big Mike down there on Bourbon Street? That's really what I was thinking.
He was on staff before, so he'd be coming back. Like, he was there before.
Oh my God! What are those cakes down there that they eat? What are those French?
Beignets.
Baby.
Beignets.
Yep.
Oh my! Big Mike McCarthy in New Orleans would be awesome. I just thought of that now. He'd be so hot. Oh my! It would be so hot. He'd be Brian Kelly's face all the time as he yins her down in Louisiana. But we're excited to see where Mike McCarthy ends up at.